Ennis's today, but a lot of kids are obviously not attending, and I suspect neither are their teachers. We bumped into an older man just moments ago, a senior citizen, who wanted to know if the A's won again when he was informed that Philadelphia had another world champion. And down here in these beautiful, spacious row homes of South Philadelphia, people are hanging out of every available window to select the world champions, the 1980 Philadelphia Phillies. And Bob, in just a few moments, those floats containing all of the stars will be right in front of us. But right now, Bob, will go back to you in anticipation of the Phillies, who are just moments away from Gordon McKean.
Dell, in 1950, was it anything like this?
Well, it was similar, only it was only one thing, Bob. We didn't win it.
That's right.
You know.
Dell, of course, you were the power hitter. You were the Mike Schmidt of the 1950 Phillies. Look back to that team. How do you compare it with the cardiac kids of 1980?
Well, up until the series, I would compare our teams pretty well equal.
Yeah.
It's just like going back 30 years ago. It just seems like it happened, you know, this week.
And your games were all close games.
They were all real close ball games. 1-0, 2-1, 3-2. Yep, they were fine games.
Earlier, we talked to Stan Lopata, we talked to Mage McDonald about the 1950 club. And perhaps one of the major differences was, at the time that you went into the series, you didn't have the depth of pitching left, did you?
No, we were just about worn out. We had a few injuries, and Kurt wasn't with us. He was in the service, and Robbie was getting a little tired pitching every other day. But I think if we had won it a few days ahead of time, we would have come out a lot better in the World Series.
At that time, I was living in an American League city, but I was still a Phillies fan. I'd followed the club, you know, from the late 40s
right.
on. And they were finding little gems in the rough at that time, weren't they?
Right.
You'd played in the service. You were a great find. Fellas like Robin Roberts were taken off a college campus. Richie Ashburn was coming up. It must have been a very exciting and a building time for the 1950 club.
Well, it was a bunch of young kids. We had Goliad in his first year, and we had some experienced players like Wakes and Sisler and those fellas. Plus, I had about 2 or 3 years under my belt, and and Willie, we all come up more or less together, and we just gelled all at once.
Now, the question is, since it was such a young team, and the prognosis was that there were going to be a dynasty, what happened in the succeeding years? Why didn't you stay on top?
Well, the following year, I believe I hurt my back, and a few of the fellas had off years, and I think Kurt stayed in the service, and our pitching sort of got worn out a little bit. We never did come up with that other pitcher to replace Kurt or Bob Miller or Bubba Church, and it sort of set us back a little bit. I think we went fourth that year. And
do you think the 1980 Phillies can sustain this momentum for years to come?
Well, I think so. I think that they have good, healthy ball players, and they're good, young, coming ball players, and there's no reason in the world they shouldn't stay right there.
It took us 30 years, but we're at the top of the mountain.
It's been a pleasure.
Dell Ennis, thank you very much for joining us.
All right, thanks, Bob.
I just want to tell you that in the event that some of the members of the family are unable to watch our telecast today, we will be on the air again tonight with highlights of this entire celebration. More details on that a little later.